Welcome back to the channel USA Coins 69, another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that might just be hiding in plain sight. Today, we're stepping back in time to the year 1936, to explore one of the most iconic and collectible coins in American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from that very year. This is not just any old penny, it's a piece of history, a little copper time capsule that holds stories from an era long past. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll reveal how this humble-looking coin could be worth a jaw-dropping amount in today's collector market. To truly appreciate this coin, we need to take a trip back almost 90 years. It's 1936, America is slowly recovering from the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt is president, swing music is filling the air, and movies starring icons like Clark Gable and Shirley Temple are lighting up theaters. The nation is full of determination and hope for better days ahead. In the middle of this backdrop, the U.S. Mint was producing the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had already been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, but one that carried deep symbolic and cultural meaning for the country. The Lincoln Wheat Penny itself had been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of the traditional allegorical designs. The obverse proudly bears Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Lincoln, a dignified and resolute profile that instantly connected with the American people. On the 1936 penny, every detail from the curve of Lincoln's cheek to the careful lines of his beard was engraved with precision. Above his head, the motto, "In God We Trust," serves as both a reminder of the nation's values and a reflection of the faith and resilience of the people during those trying years. To Lincoln's left, the word "Liberty" is stamped boldly, and to the right, the date 1936, marking its place in history. Flip the coin over and you're greeted with the classic wheat reverse design, another signature of Brenner's work. 2 stylized ears of Durham wheat arch gracefully along the left and right edges, framing the bold words, 1 cent, in the center. Just above, the phrase, "United States of America," stands proud, and at the very top, the Latin motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one. This reverse design wasn't just decorative, it symbolized the agricultural strength of the nation and the unity of its people. For collectors, the wheat reverse is an emblem of nostalgia, instantly recognizable and deeply tied to early 20th century America. Now, when it comes to the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny, there's more than meets the eye. While millions were minted that year across different facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, not all pennies are created equal. Over decades of circulation, most of these coins suffered scratches, dents, and the fading of their once crisp details. Finding one today in pristine, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare. This is where the world of coin collecting becomes truly thrilling. Condition is everything. A coin that still retains its original luster, free from heavy wear, and with every design detail sharp and clear, can command extraordinary prices in the numismatic market. But rarity doesn't just come from condition, sometimes it comes from fascinating minting errors or unique variations. In 1936, there were a few noteworthy oddities, including double-die obverse varieties, where the inscriptions or parts of Lincoln's profile appear to have a faint shadow or doubling effect due to a misalignment in the minting process. These double dies are among the most sought-after errors by collectors, as they are visually striking and relatively scarce. Other rare finds might include off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or unusual planchet flaws. To the trained eye of a collector, these quirks transform a common penny into a treasure. Imagine for a moment the journey of one of these pennies. Perhaps it passed through the hands of a farmer buying seeds in the spring of 1936, or it jingled in the pocket of a young child saving up for a movie ticket. It may have been carried by soldiers, dropped in soda shops, or forgotten in the back of a dresser drawer for decades. Each coin carries with it silent stories from the past, adding to its allure. And when a coin has been preserved in mint condition, untouched by time, it's as though you are holding a little piece of 1936 exactly as it looked the day it left the press. Over the years, collectors have scoured antique shops, coin shows, and estate sales in search of that perfect 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny. While you might occasionally find a worn one in an old jar or inherited collection, discovering a top-grade example, or one with a rare error, is like striking gold. These coins are more than metal, they're tangible history, and their value reflects both their scarcity and the fascination they inspire. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for. While a common, circulated 1936 penny might only fetch a modest amount, an extraordinary specimen in flawless, uncirculated condition, possibly with a desirable mint error, has been known to reach an astounding $87,000. Yes, $87,000 for a single penny that, at face value, could barely buy a stick of gum.so. The next time you come across an old penny, especially one dated 1936, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Take a closer look. Check the condition, inspect for errors, and remember the incredible history it carries. You never know, you might just be holding a small copper coin that could change your fortune. And as always, keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your passion for history alive. Because in the world of coin collecting, treasures are everywhere, you just have to know how to spot them. Today, we're traveling back to the mid-20th century, a time when America was experiencing a post-war boom, rock and roll was taking over the airwaves, and the country was buzzing with optimism. In the middle of this vibrant era, the United States Mint produced a coin that has captured the hearts of collectors for decades, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from the year 1956. This small copper coin might seem like just another penny to the untrained eye, but it holds more history, artistry, and hidden value than most people could imagine. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll reveal exactly how much one of these coins in the right condition could be worth today, and trust me, you're going to be amazed. Let's set the scene. It's 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower is president, Elvis Presley is electrifying audiences with his music, and the nation is riding high on an economic wave. The average family car is big, chrome-covered, and stylish, television is becoming a household staple, and people are filling their pockets with coins like the one we're talking about today. At this point, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in production for nearly half a century, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1956, it had become an everyday part of American life, passing through millions of hands, from grocery stores to movie theaters, from gas stations to diners. On the obverse of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny, you'll find one of the most beloved and enduring designs in American coinage history, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner. This image of Lincoln is calm yet commanding, showing the great president's profile with sharp detail in his hair, beard, and suit. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that resonated deeply with Americans in the 1950s, a period marked by strong values and a sense of unity. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the single, powerful word "liberty," and to the right, the date 1956, which tells us exactly when this little piece of history was struck. Some versions of this coin also bear a small mint mark under the date, such as a D for the Denver Mint, which can sometimes add to the collectability depending on the coin's rarity and condition. Flip the coin over and you're greeted with the reverse design that gives this coin its famous nickname, the wheat reverse. Two tall, graceful stalks of wheat curve along the sides of the coin, framing the bold words, 1 cent, in the center. Just below is United States of America, and at the top, the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This reverse design wasn't just decorative, it was symbolic, representing the agricultural roots of the nation and its unity. For collectors, the wheat reverse is one of the most recognizable and nostalgic images in U.S. coin history. Now here's where things get truly exciting. In 1956, millions of Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted, but as with all coins, not all of them are created equal. Over decades of circulation, most have been scratched, dinged, and worn down until their fine details are a shadow of what they once were. However, a small number have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition, untouched by time, stored carefully away, and still gleaming as they did the day they left the mint. These coins are the ones collectors dream about. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's value, and the higher the grade, the higher the price it can fetch, but condition isn't the only factor. Certain 1956 wheat pennies are known to have fascinating minting errors that make them even more valuable. For example, there are double-die obverse varieties, where parts of the design, such as the date or lettering, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. There can also be off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or even planchet flaws that make each affected coin completely unique. Error coins like these are highly sought after because they're essentially one-of-a-kind, and when paired with excellent condition, they can reach truly impressive prices. Think about the journey of a single 1956 wheat penny. It may have been handed to a kid buying candy at a corner store, used to pay for a gallon of gasoline back when prices were measured in cents, or perhaps given as change in a bustling 1950s diner. Some of these pennies were tucked away in piggy banks, hidden in jars, or forgotten in dresser drawers, waiting decades to be rediscovered. Each one carries a story, a silent witness to a time when life in America looked and felt very different from today. Today, coin collectors hunt for the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with passion and precision, examining every detail under magnifying glasses, looking for that perfect combination of beauty, condition, and rarity. While a worn example might only be worth its face value or slightly more, a flawless example with a rare error can transform from a simple penny into a collector's treasure. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much could one of these coins actually be worth? Well, a top-grade 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny, preserved in perfect, uncirculated condition and possibly with a rare minting error, has been known to sell for an astonishing $47,600. So the next time you find an old penny dated 1956, don't be too quick to spend it or toss it into a jar. Take a good, close look, because you might be holding a piece of history that's worth far more than its face value. In the world of coin collecting, treasures are out there waiting to be discovered, and sometimes, they're hiding in the smallest and most ordinary-looking places. Keep searching, keep learning, and you never know, you might just find your own 1956 wheat penny worth a small fortune. Today we're stepping back over 70 years into the early 1950s, a time of change, optimism, and classic American charm, to explore a coin that has become a favorite among collectors all over the world, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from the year 1952. This isn't just an old copper penny. It's a small but powerful relic of its time, packed with fascinating details, historical significance, and, for some lucky owners, a value that could surprise you beyond your wildest expectations. Picture the scene: America in 1952. Harry S. Truman is president, the Korean War is still ongoing, television is becoming a regular sight in living rooms, and people are cruising down Main Street in shiny chrome-covered cars with big tail fins. It's a post-war nation in full swing, brimming with energy and possibilities. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been a familiar sight in people's pockets since 1909, when it was introduced to honor the 100th birthday of one of the most respected figures in American history, Abraham Lincoln. By 1952, the design was firmly rooted in American culture, instantly recognizable to anyone who handled it. On the obverse of the 1952 penny, we find the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner. His profile, calm yet resolute, is finely detailed, from the texture of his hair to the distinctive curve of his beard and the lines in his coat. Above him is the motto, "In God We Trust," a reminder of the values held close by many Americans during this era. To Lincoln's left, the word "Liberty" appears in bold letters, and to his right, the date 1952 marks this coin's place in history. Below the date, you may spot a small letter mint mark such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, depending on where it was minted, though some were produced without a mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint. Flipping the coin over reveals the classic wheat reverse design that gives this coin its nickname, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. Two tall ears of wheat curve gracefully up the left and right edges of the coin, framing the words, 1 cent, in bold lettering. Just beneath that, United States of America claims the center space, and along the top edge, the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, proudly reads, out of many, one. This reverse design, simple yet deeply symbolic, was meant to represent the agricultural backbone of the country and the unity of its people, themes that were as relevant in the 1950s as they were when the design first appeared. Now, here's where this story gets even more interesting. While the U.S. Mint struck millions of these pennies in 1952, not all of them are the same in the eyes of collectors. Most of the coins circulated heavily, enduring decades of handling in stores, markets, diners, and gas stations, where their sharp details slowly wore down. Many have scratches, nicks, and a faded appearance. But a small number have survived in remarkable condition, brilliant, uncirculated examples that look as if they just rolled off the minting press yesterday. These coins are the treasures collectors dream about, because condition is one of the most important factors when determining a coin's value, and condition isn't the only thing that makes certain 1952 wheat pennies stand out. Minting errors are another exciting factor that can send a coin's value soaring. Some of the most sought-after errors from this year include double die varieties, where parts of the lettering or date appear doubled due to a slight shift during the minting process, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing or skewed, repunched mint marks, and even coins struck on defective or unusual planchets. These errors make the coin unique. No two are exactly alike, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for such rare and unusual finds. Think for a moment about the journey of a single 1952 penny. Maybe it was handed over at a candy counter in exchange for a sweet treat, or used to pay for a cup of coffee that cost only a few cents. It might have been saved by a child in a piggy bank, passed between friends in a friendly wager, or carried in the pocket of someone heading off to work in a factory, an office, or a farm. Over time, most of these pennies would have been spent and respent until they were worn smooth, but every once in a while, one escaped the endless cycle of circulation, set aside, protected, and preserved until today. For modern-day collectors, finding a 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny in top condition can feel like discovering a hidden time capsule. It's not just about the money, it's about holding a genuine piece of 1950s America in your hand. But when that piece of history also happens to be incredibly rare and valuable, the excitement reaches a whole new level. While most 1952 pennies in average circulated condition might only be worth a modest amount, an uncirculated, flawless example, or one with a remarkable minting error, can command serious attention at auctions and among serious collectors. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the kind of detail that turns an interesting story into an unforgettable one. A truly exceptional 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny, in pristine, uncirculated condition, and possibly with a rare mint error, has been known to sell for an extraordinary $40,400. Yes, you heard that right, over $40,000 for a coin that, at face value, wouldn't even buy a gumball. So, the next time you're sorting through an old coin jar, checking an inherited collection, or browsing at a flea market, keep your eyes peeled for a 1952 wheat penny. Look closely, check the details, and if you find one in perfect condition or with a minting error, you could be holding a life-changing treasure. In coin collecting, it's the smallest things that often hold the biggest surprises, and your next great discovery could be just one penny away. Today, we are diving deep into the story of the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from the year 1941, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance but hides a world of fascination for collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. This is not just about the price, it's about the history, the rarity, the details, and the thrill of finding one in exceptional condition. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and became an instant favorite among Americans. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny came at a unique time in U.S. history. The country was recovering from the Great Depression, industries were shifting toward war production, and Americans were living through the final moments before the United States entered World War II. During this year, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 different locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, all carrying the classic wheat reverse design and the proud portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The obverse side features the famous right-facing bust of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," at the top, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1941, to the right. If minted in Denver or San Francisco, you will see a tiny D or S mint mark just below the date. The reverse is a simple yet beautiful design, 2 wheat stalks along the edges symbolizing prosperity, surrounding the inscriptions, 1 cent, United States of America, and the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. From a technical perspective, These coins were struck from a bronze alloy composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. They measure 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weigh 3.11 grams. Even though millions were minted in 1941, over 887 million from Philadelphia, 128 million from Denver, and 92 million from San Francisco, the passage of time has made finding a well-preserved example increasingly challenging. Many were worn down in everyday use, scratched, corroded, or damaged beyond collectability. What makes the 1941 wheat penny truly special to collectors is not just its age, but the variations and conditions that can significantly increase its value. Some 1941 pennies have striking errors that make them extremely desirable. Double die obverse varieties, where the inscriptions or date appear slightly doubled due to a die misalignment, are sought after and can command high prices. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks, each telling its own little story of how the minting process went slightly off track. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS, 70, with mint state coins showing no signs of wear and retaining full original luster. A 1941 wheat penny found in circulation today will likely grade somewhere between fine, F12, and extremely fine, XF40, if it has survived decently. But those that were never heavily handled, kept in protective cases, and preserved for decades can grade MS 65 or higher, and that's where the serious money comes into play. Collectors especially prize coins with sharp details, rich original color, and minimal contact marks. Red designation coins, those that still retain their original bright copper color rather than toning to brown, are considered the cream of the crop and fetch much higher prices than their brown or red-brown counterparts. Beyond the technicalities, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny carries an emotional connection to history. Imagine a young soldier receiving one of these pennies in change before shipping off to war, or a child using it to buy candy at the corner store. It's a tangible link to a time when the world was on the brink of enormous change, when life was simpler in some ways yet filled with uncertainty in others. Today, coin collectors, metal detector hobbyists, and even casual change checkers keep an eye out for this penny, not only for its historical charm but also for the potential windfall if it happens to be one of the finest surviving examples. While the average worn 1941 wheat penny might be worth a small amount, the rarest high-grade examples with pristine preservation have amazed collectors at auctions. In fact, one extraordinary example of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny, graded in exceptional condition with brilliant red luster, sold for a staggering $53,100. So next time you find yourself sorting through a jar of old coins or getting change at a store, remember, history might just be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize its value. If you've ever been the kind of person who enjoys looking closely at your spare change before tossing it into a jar, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Today, we're taking you on an exciting journey back in time to the late 1950s, a period when America was booming, rock and roll was rising, and in the midst of all that, a humble little coin was quietly making its way into the hands of millions, only to become one of the most sought-after pieces among collectors decades later. We're talking about the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1957, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but hides a fascinating history, unique features, and the potential to be worth much more than 1 cent. Imagine pulling out an old dusty box from the attic, opening it up, and finding a small brown coin with Abraham Lincoln's familiar face on one side. You might shrug it off, thinking it's just a common penny, but the truth is, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than just pocket change. It's a direct link to an era when the U.S. Mint was still producing the beloved wheat reverse design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. That means every 1957 wheat penny you come across represents one of the last years of an American coinage icon. The design of this coin is part of what makes it so historically charming. On the obverse, or front, you have the detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. His thoughtful, dignified profile is surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1957, to the right, sometimes with a small D mint mark just below it if it was struck in Denver. Flip the coin over, and instead of the Lincoln Memorial we're familiar with today, you'll see two graceful wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with De Pluribus Unum arched above, a simple yet powerful design that has become an enduring favorite among collectors. Now, while the 1957 wheat penny was minted in large numbers, over 1 billion across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, not every penny is created equal. The vast majority are worth only a few cents today, but there are certain factors that can launch the value of this coin into the stratosphere. Condition is one of the biggest factors. Coins that have survived more than 6 decades without scratches, wear, or discoloration, especially those in brilliant uncirculated condition, are rare and highly desirable. Collectors look for coins that have sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, full wheat lines on the reverse, and a rich, original luster. Then there's the question of mint errors and varieties, which can transform a common penny into a treasure. Some 1957 wheat pennies have double dies, where parts of the design appear slightly double due to a misalignment during the minting process. Others might have off-center strikes, die cracks, or even wrong planchet errors, where the penny was mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal blank. These rare quirks are like the hidden gems of the coin world, and collectors are willing to pay high premiums for them. One of the fascinating things about the 1957 wheat penny is that it sits right at the crossroads of American coin history. It's part of the final chapter for the wheat reverse design that had been used for nearly half a century, and because of that, many collectors see it as both a nostalgic keepsake and an important piece in completing a Lincoln cent collection. If you happen to find one in pristine condition or with a rare error, you might be surprised at just how much interest it can attract at auction. So the next time you're sorting through change, don't overlook that small, brown coin just because it's old and familiar. Take a closer look, check the date, examine the mint mark, and look for those sharp details or unusual features. You could be holding a piece of American history that carries both sentimental and financial value. And yes, in the world of coin collecting, even something as small as a penny can open the door to big rewards. In fact, some lucky collectors have discovered that their 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny in exceptional condition, with all the right factors lining up, has sold for an astounding $46,100.